Welcome to Birthing at Home, a podcast. I'm Elsie, your host. I'm a home birth mum of 2 little boys, a doula in Melbourne supporting birth at home. I'm a mental health nurse and the co-creator of Homebirth Victoria. If you want to learn more about me, the podcast, or my work, check out www.birthingathome.apodcast. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people, who are the traditional custodians of the land I'm recording on in Naarm, Melbourne, Australia. I would also like to acknowledge that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples have been birthing at home on country for tens of thousands of years prior to the British invasion, and acknowledge that sovereignty has never been ceded. This is episode 72, and it's shared by Rhiannon, living on the land of the Bunurong People of the Kulin Nation. Rhiannon shares how her home birth transfer with her first baby influenced her decision to free birth with her second baby. We talk about the opportunity for inner growth that pregnancy and birth can offer, how she decided on free birth, and her engagement with private midwifery for her antenatal and postnatal care, and, of course, her 2 birth experiences that were extremely different. As always, please share this episode in whatever way you can, and please rate or review the podcast on Spotify or Apple. Enjoy! Welcome, Rhiannon, to Birthing at Home, a podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I was going back through my emails and saw that I think you actually reached out in December last year. So it's now June. So I'm really grateful for you being so patient with me. Are you able to give the listeners a bit of background to who you are, where you're located, who's in your family?
Yeah, so I'm located in Altona, and I have 2 under 2, myself and my partner. Together we have 5. So my partner has 3 children from his previous relationship.
Yeah.
So we're a very busy house at times.
How old's the eldest?
The eldest is 8. There are twins that are 5.
Oh my gosh.
My daughter, my firstborn daughter is 2, and my son, who's 8 months.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That's full on. And so you're going to share a little bit about the birth of your 2-year-old Luna, but then also the free birth that you had with your 8-month-old Raphael, right? Yes. Cool. So I suppose knowing that you have some older kids, and I guess reflecting on your own upbringing and knowledge around pregnancy and birth and whatnot, did you know before you had Luna, like anything about home birth, birthing at home, free birth, any of that kind of stuff?
When I got pregnant with Luna, I knew immediately that I wanted to try for a home birth. My own birth was extremely traumatic for my mum. Yeah. And there was a lot of intervention that was involved. It was 1984, so things have changed a lot since then. But just from her story and a lot of things that she told me, it felt like there was a lot that happened that felt to her like it was out of control. Yeah. And I feel like that really came through in her parenting and how she felt about being a mother. And really affected her long-term in her life and also our relationship. Yeah. So for me, although it felt like this impossible dream to be able to, birth my baby at home, it was something that I really wanted to do. Yeah, it just felt really, really important for me and my lineage to heal backwards that way. Yeah. Through the way that I was going to choose to birth this way.
Yeah, 100%.
But it didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, so you did briefly mention the hospital that you had Luna at, and they obviously have the home birth program. Did you know that they had the home birth program, or what was that journey?
So I didn't go through the home birth program. I had a referral to a private midwife from a girlfriend of mine who'd had an amazing experience with this particular midwife, and she was wonderful. She guided me through my entire pregnancy, being your first-time mum, and just set me up with all the knowledge and the tools, and also set me in the directions that I needed to go to educate myself on things that maybe I was worried about or felt like I needed more information about. And it was wonderful, but I just ended up having a really, really, really long labour, and got to, excuse me, I got to the point where I really did doubt myself, and I lost faith in my ability to continue. I mean, I was a couple of days into my labour at home.
Wow, yeah.
And I wondered, if this was something that I was going to be able to achieve. And I feel like, as the doubting started to happen around me, it started to happen within myself. And very, very reluctantly, I took myself off to the hospital, which was only 15 minutes up the road. And within 35 minutes, my daughter was just born.
Wow. Oh, my goodness, Rhiannon. So through your whole pregnancy with Luna, you were actually planning a home birth?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. And so it actually...
Yeah, there was nothing that was going to take me to a hospital.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, but when I reflect on it now, that was the teaching, and it was there was something within me that didn't want to face authority, in the terms of, like, I didn't want to. But if I have my baby at home, I don't have to disappoint anyone. I don't have to say no to anything. I get to completely call the shots. I essentially get to hide. There was something in that. But the healing and the teaching was in, actually, I had to learn to advocate for myself in the face of authority.
Wow.
Which I did with the support of my partner and my midwife, who accompanied me to the hospital.
Yeah.
So although that was quite traumatic, but I did it. And I guess I came out of the other side of the birth, although I was quite disappointed that I didn't have her at home, and all this and that, how I had planned this in a utopian birth.
Yeah.
You plan for your first birth, because that's what you think it's going to be like.
Of course.
And then reality hits, and, you hit a few bumps in the road, and maybe some things need to change.
Yeah.
But I realised, when I reflected back, and I spent some time with my midwife when she came and did some postnatal care, we were doing some debriefing, that that was a big fear of mine, was to actually say to the head midwife that I didn't want to do this or that, or when they thought that I should, and all these types of things. And that was something that I had to do. That was a healing that I needed to work through.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's why I believe that birth went that way, because I couldn't just hide. I had to grow up. Like, if I couldn't advocate for myself, how was I ever going to advocate for my daughter?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. And so how many hours roughly were you in labour with Luna, and how many roughly weeks were you?
I was 39 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 39 and 3. And I think it was about 36 hours.
Holy moly. And so so it was actually a home birth transfer, really?
Basically, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. And then 35 minutes into being in hospital, she was born.
Yep, something like that. It's a huge blur from the decision of reluctantly going to hospital and getting in the car and getting there. It was just up the road, and the triage and all the things, and but it was very, very quick.
Yeah.
And it was just by a whisker that I missed out on having an epidural.
Wow.
And it was actually only because I had agreed to many things at this point, because my waters had been open for 52 hours, I think.
Yeah, wow.
And so I'd agreed to having antibiotics, and then they brought it, and I said, no, I'm not going to have that.
Yeah.
They weren't too happy with me.
Yeah.
There was a couple, I can't remember everything, but there was a few other bits and pieces that came up, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, I don't want to have an epidural. And then I was like, well, I'm stuffed now. I'm here. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And then someone came and knocked on the door and said, oh, he's been held up. It might be another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the head midwife asked if she could do an examination, and she had a look, and she's like, "How are you feeling? Do you feel like you could push?" And I was like, "Never done this before." But then I was like, "Well, all right, I'm over this. Let's just get this done." And 2 pushes, and she was out.
Holy moly! Wow. That's, wild. Birth is just so bizarre. And so I guess something that sounds really positive about that story, and I guess in Luna's story, sounds like your private midwife was quite a supportive part of that postpartum journey, and like integrating what you'd kind of learnt and like unraveling, what had happened and whatnot.
Yes.
It sounds like she was quite an important part in that, or a supportive part rather.
Absolutely. And it was so needed and so helpful it took me quite a while to come to terms with, quote unquote, that failed home birth, which I don't see as that now. Good. But at the time that was, the terms that were kind of, ringing in my ears.
Yeah.
As we can be, quite self-critical.
Yeah, of course.
In situations like that. But yeah, she was amazing in helping me to process that and being such a support at the hospital and afterwards as well. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. And so Luna is 2. So what's the age difference between her and Raphael?
16 months.
16 months. Okay. So in that 16 months, because you free birthed Raphael, so without midwives, so what the heck happened?
So what happened is when I was 7 months postpartum with Luna, I found out I was pregnant again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
I was 39 at the time, and I was 38 when I had Luna, and they were both surprise pregnancies.
Yeah, okay.
And I just thought to myself, well, if I am the vessel, I accept the challenge. And I just kept thinking to myself, well, Luna, it took a bloody long time and it wasn't enjoyable, but she made her way down on her own with a wonderful supportive team. I also had my auntie as an unofficial doula role.
Yeah, beautiful.
In the space, which was really, really beautiful when I was at home labouring with Luna, along with my partner as well, my dogs.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I did it once. Why couldn't I do it again? Because I proved to myself that my body actually could do it. It just took a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't really need anything apart from time and support.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I would have loved to have had a private midwife throughout the whole, but unfortunately it's financially not as accessible as I would have liked.
Yeah, of course, especially with like some might call like a relatively small gap in between. Like that's definitely, home birth is super difficult to access for like almost everyone unless you're really rich. But
exactly.
Especially if, you got like having babies close together, that's a lot to ask to, come up with, basically $20,000 in 2 years for 2 births. That's wild.
It's huge. Yeah. And it's really sad that our medical system makes it not accessible to everyone. I mean, it was really, really difficult for my partner and I to be able to fund it the first time round, and we were willing to do it a second time.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? Like, I didn't want to put us under that financial pressure. I did consider going under the hospital programs, but there was a number of reasons why I might have been excluded.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm a bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
And there were certain tests that I didn't want to take.
Yeah.
because I didn't have them when I had Luna, and I didn't believe that I needed them.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I was of the feeling that if circumstances changed within my situation, yep, sure, I would have, a bunch of tests.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to jump through those hoops
Yeah.
of having to have tests that I didn't feel that were necessary for me in my body with this particular pregnancy in order to qualify for
Yeah.
something.
100%.
So I thought I'd take it a step further, and I said, well, let's free birth.
Yeah.
And I remember when I explained it to my partner, he got the concept, but it was only about a month before Raphael was born. He's like, so when's the midwife coming?
Oh my gosh.
And I said, Adam, I said, there is no midwife. He's like, so who's birthing the baby? And I said,
Me. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that now.
Oh my gosh. And so your journey to, choosing to birth without a midwife, that seems to have happened like pretty, I guess, I want to say like intuitively, like you knew that you could birth a baby, you knew especially with Luna, it seemed like trusting the process and being patient and trying to shed some expectations around, how long a labor should be, like that played a role in it.
Oh, huge.
But then, you're like, yeah, I guess, did you have any, like especially throughout your pregnancy, anything that you did to sort of come to terms with like risks or fears or worries that especially you yourself had?
Yes. So the number one concern that my partner had was postpartum hemorrhage.
Yeah.
Because when Luna was born, I believe, I'm trying to get the meals right now. Once you've had the second baby and you haven't slept properly for a couple of years, the details get a bit fuzzy, don't they?
Yeah.
I think I was about 500 meals.
Yeah.
I think I had, and it was considered a minor postpartum hemorrhage.
Yeah.
So there was some concerns there. And I didn't know a lot about postpartum hemorrhage. Like, first pregnancy, you can't school yourself on everything. But then it comes around the next time, and I was like, I think I need to dig a little bit deeper into what is a postpartum hemorrhage and who decides what that looks like and how did that feel for me. And so I went down this huge rabbit hole.
Yeah, wow.
Of the quote-unquote postpartum hemorrhage. And the conclusion I came to for myself was that I didn't feel majorly affected at the time. I did feel like my placenta delivery was quite rushed.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was something that was really important to me, to try to have undisturbed placenta delivery.
Yeah, cool.
And I also made sure that I had lots of tinctures and herbs. I had all the things, all the gadgets, all the gizmos. But it's not something I believed was going to happen again.
Yeah. It
was very intuitive. There was a lot of people that told me I was mad.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of pushback, but I just had to trust in my knowing.
Yeah.
And having said that, I also want to add that I was very, very fortunate. I had, apart from feeling like shit throughout both my pregnancies,
yeah,
I had no complications.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And none really in birth either.
Yeah.
And that is not a reality for everybody.
Yeah.
So had my outcomes with Luna been different, and had I needed a lot of support, or there'd been some other things going on, then I might not have had the confidence to, as what someone said to me the other day, was that was a really ballsy move.
Yeah,
to have a quote unquote failed home birth and just go, fuck this, I'm going to free birth now.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think and I guess it's so much of like once you give birth, like it's done. Like, you'll never get, you go on a journey, and the journey is the journey. You can't, I mean, there's so many things that you think, oh, well, maybe that could have been like that, or it could have happened, or this or that, or this or that. But like, you can't replay it, you can't rewind. And so you really like just hearing like the basics of your story with Luna. Holy moly, you must have been exhausted. But also, like, what role did like going to that unfamiliar environment, what, having to go through triage or whatever you had to go through, seeing unfamiliar people, having pressure placed upon you for the antibiotics and having other people's fears like imposed on you, what role did that play in, what actually happened with your placenta or with the blood loss or whatever? Like, you have to consider that played a role.
Oh, honestly, it really was so traumatic, that whole decision to transfer to hospital. Like, my mum was in the hospital recently, not Joe Kerner, but like the other section of the hospital, and I had to park near there, and I was parking the car, and I just had this flashback of, being in labour and getting out of the car and saying to my partner and my midwife that was with me at the time, I don't want to do this. Like, oh my God, I'm fucked, and all these things, and all those memories, like it has really stayed with me. Although I had excellent outcomes for my birth in the end, I was treated amazingly in the hospital. My daughter was born, there were no issues, like it was all great, but it still was, of course, that would have played a role at how things turned out in the end. I have this little internal joke with myself, because my daughter, she's a Gemini, and she's quite a busybot, and she's just in a rush to do things. And I always say to myself, I feel like at that moment she just knew, okay, no more mucking around, it's time.
Yeah.
I've got to come out now, and I've got to do it quickly, because Mum's going to agree to everything now, because she's done.
Yeah. I've really dragged this out for as long as I can.
Yeah, and now I'm done.
Yeah. Wow. And so, like, did you know anybody that had free birthed?
No.
Wow.
I don't even know if I've met anyone now that has intentional free birth.
Yeah. So I mean, I always find things like this so fascinating, because there's a lot of, I guess, stigma out there that like people choose free birth because it's like trendy, or like, they saw something on Instagram, or, whatever. But like, at the end of the day, it's just trusting your body, and you don't really have to like have followed someone, or like the idea doesn't have to have come from anybody else. That can just be your intuition that actually this is actually the right decision for me. And I think that's like incredible. That's
absolutely.
Wow.
And it's not the right decision for everybody. And I really struggled to tell my story in a lot of circles, because I felt that I've been with some other mums that have judged themselves because their story has looked different to mine, whether it's been an emergency C-section, or, I had an epidural, or, I did this or I did that or whatever. So although I've really wanted to celebrate it and shout it from the rooftops, because for me, it was like the most amazing thing that I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, it was my dream. I just felt that, like, I'm like, if I could pull off this free birth, I could fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a world, or in a time now, where we're told that birth is not safe.
Yeah.
To just allow to happen. So that felt really important for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And honestly, I didn't feel safe in hospitals.
Yeah.
But another woman might feel really safe in a hospital, and that might be what's very liberating for her. For me, it wasn't. And I wanted to be in the safety and the comfort of my own home. Like, I needed my dogs around me. I needed, my partner, my my daughter was actually present at my son's birth,
Wow.
although it was a little bit of a shit show because she wasn't quite sure what was going on. She was crying and stuff. But
Oh, Luna.
but that was healing for both of us. Like, this is what I couldn't do for you, Luna. Now you're getting to see that this could be possible for you because you get to see your brother be born now.
Yeah. Wow. I think, yeah, your like intuition is one thing, but like feeling like in tune with it and feeling like you can actually trust that is like a whole other thing. And I think that's like all power to you, because that's fantastic. That's amazing. That's
And I
really
had my
powerful.
doubts. Yeah, I absolutely had my doubts, and I was like, oh, what if this all goes wrong? And I just had to tell myself, well, hospital's only 15 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
You went last time, so why couldn't you just go again?
Yeah.
And I had doubts a lot. Or like throughout so much of my thought, what will people say, blah, 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 and all these things. And I was like, no, you're going to pull this off. And if you don't, just like last time, the support will be available.
Yeah.
And you can go and get what you need, and it will be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so Luna was going to be there, your dogs, your
Yes,
partner.
my partner.
Were you having anybody else there? Were you having, did you say your mum was there for the birth of Luna?
No, so this is for Luna's birth. I had my auntie was here.
Oh, your auntie. Yeah.
And I had a private midwife.
Yeah. And then for Raphael?
But when it came for Raphael, I had a gorgeous student doula.
Cool.
And that was really tricky because there's not a lot of student doulas that are allowed to assist free birth. I found out when I was looking for one.
Yeah.
But I did find somebody that was able and willing and very excited.
Yeah.
Which was wonderful. And it was just so, she almost didn't make it.
Yeah.
Here in time, because I went from having a 36-hour labour to a 2-hour active labour with my son.
What? Oh my gosh. What the heck?
And we were umming and ahhing about whether we were going to call her or not, because I was like, oh, we're going to be at this for 2 or 3 days like last time.
Yeah.
Let's not call her now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. Somebody bring her.
Oh my gosh. And so obviously Luna was quite little when Raphael was born.
Yeah, she was 16 months.
Was there anything that you tried to like do with her to help her prepare to be in that environment, or?
I did, but she was probably too little to understand.
Yeah.
I think she was just getting to the point where she was having an awareness of like, Mum, there's a baby in Mummy's tummy.
Sure,
but I don't think she really knew what that was.
Yeah.
I had some really beautiful books that I shared with her, but I think the information was just a little bit over her head.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that like when my labour was like ramped up to the max, she was asleep, and then all of a sudden she woke up to Mum in the pool, and lots of things going on. And it was quite an interesting day for her.
Yeah.
But as soon as she seen him come out, she was so excited.
Yeah. And I think like the important thing is as well, even like even though she was little, that this story of Raphael being born is a story that she will now hear, and she'll be a part of the story like for the rest of her life. So even like I even think of this like I took my kids, this is a bit of a random tangent, but I took my kids and my husband to like a wedding for like a sort of friend in India at the start of last year, and it just seemed like ridiculous. Like Frankie at the time was like 6 months old, and Murphy was like almost 4 maybe, and it just seemed so silly to be taking 2 very little kids to, of all places, India. But like those, we're going to forever tell those stories, and I think that story that we tell, that's what shapes how they see the world. And you know, how they appreciate the world. And I think it's the exact same with like small children being at birth. Like even at the time, if they're not really sure what's going on, the impact just ripples because like you're going to tell this story so many more times. And I think that's really special for Luna too.
Exactly right. And it also, for her to grow up with this awareness that it was actually really normal for my auntie to be in the birthing space. My cousin was also here.
Wow.
Because I have, you know, spoken about that to, you know, some other people, and they're like, oh, isn't that a bit weird, like having your rellos and like whatever there? And I'm like, no, because these are the people that I most trust and that most know how to hold the space for me.
Yeah.
In my most vulnerable moments.
Yeah.
So for her to, you know, grow up, you know, knowing that, you know, that is possible and this is something that she was a part of, you know, that was like three generations.
Yeah.
In that room, you know, whilst her brother was being born. I can't wait until, you know, she grows up to see how she feels about birth.
Yeah.
Compared to how I felt about birth before I birthed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of that being a part of that experience. And I'm sure I listened to 1,000 birth stories on podcasts in the car driving around with her when she was so little. She was probably like 1.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
So whether she remembers any of that, if her little psyche has taken any of that in, I don't know, but it's all the good juju. So
yeah, quite possibly. I think that's interesting what people said about you know, having family members present. I think that like I could be wrong and maybe people disagree with me, I don't know, but I feel like that does tie into like women's bodies being like sexualized and like being naked being like a sexual kind of thing, whereas like in labor and birth it's not sexual. Like these are our bodies doing like the most powerful freaking thing that they could actually possibly do. Like that's not sexual, that's like awe-inspiring or something. That's like, you know, goddess material. That's and I guess there's people don't really like in society, women's bodies especially are so sexualized. So I wonder if that kind of plays into people thinking, oh, it's a bit weird to have your rellos present.
Oh, for sure. But in my experience, it helped me so much to navigate, you know, the really tough times. And I also feel like, you know, my partner is amazing. He's an amazing birth partner. But I think sometimes that is so much to put on one man.
Yeah.
To, like, especially when you're at home as well, because there's a lot of things you've got to manage. And I was gung ho that I wanted my toddler there as well.
Yeah.
I remember my partner saying, like, sure, you don't want me to, like, you know, take Luna to mum's, or like, I'm like, no, she's got to be here. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
So we wanted, you know, the many hands around to help with, you know, with the many things.
Yeah.
And also for there to be support for him.
Yeah,
as well.
Of course. Yeah.
Because in my mind, we were going to be going at this for 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, and that's possible. Like that's the thing about labor. It's like better to, you know, have your sort of, for lack of a better term, like toolbox of like resources that you can access, and like, yeah, absolutely. If that feels right for you, to have people, extra hands, that obviously makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so during your pregnancy with Raphael, you know, you sort of spoke about how you did a lot of working through different fears and whatnot. Were there any other resources? You obviously said that you listened to lots of birth stories. Were there any other resources that you found particularly helpful, like in preparing to free birth?
Yeah, so I was working with a private midwife who I was doing my prenatal appointments with.
Cool.
So she was a wonderful resource for like a couple of things that came up. So she was able to send me in directions of other allied health professionals if I needed them.
Nice.
for certain things, and in the direction of more research as well.
Yeah. Cool.
So that really helped when I went down the wormhole of the postpartum hemorrhage was the main concern, and the one that I wanted to understand better, and also because I wanted to have that physiological placenta birth.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. What an awesome resource. And so,
So I became quite the nerd.
Yeah. As most, like, yeah, I mean, I'm not the expert, but in my experience talking to, I mean, women that birth at home in general, but especially women that free birth, they obviously, generally speaking, in my experience, know a lot about like almost everything. I just wanted to ask, so with those antenatal visits,
Yes.
for, I guess, more for listeners who are kind of like, oh, how did she do that? So to clarify, like the cost of a private midwife, the big cost is usually around the birth, the birth,
Yes.
at least in my experience, I think just the birth was like $6,000, and that's quite literally just the birth. So for those antenatal appointments, like, did that cost very much? Did you get any like Medicare rebates? How did that work for you?
Yes. So there was a small administration fee. I think it was a couple of $100, and then the rest was all bulk billed by Medicare.
Wow.
And I was able to have as many appointments as I needed or wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was able to either do some of those online, but luckily enough, this particular midwife was practicing in a clinic that was just up the road. So every, 4 weeks, or, how often you see your regular appointments throughout your pregnancy, I was able to go and see her in person.
Yeah, wow.
Which was great.
Yeah.
And then she was also able to do some home visits for me towards the end, and after Raphael was born, because I really the continuity of care is just so key for me. I've been very blessed with both both postpartums, that I've been able to have that continuity of care, and I think it has really helped, because it's that fourth trimester is just such a delicate time. And I can't imagine what it would be like getting in the car. Well, I also did the 40 days practice as well.
Wow.
With both my children. So that's why I'm saying getting in the car, and going somewhere 3 or 4 days after you've had a baby to go and have an appointment with someone that you don't know, like that just felt so jarring for me. So I was really, really lucky to be able to have these beautiful women that supported me throughout both my pregnancies come to my home for a few weeks, and check on how I was doing and check how Bub was doing, and it just made that period much more easeful and just really magical.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I don't really think I've had I mean, maybe I'm losing my memory now, but I don't think I've had somebody that's had, antenatal and postnatal care, but then actually had a free birth, like, in the between. But I think, if you can't access a midwife for the birth, and you've decided to go down the free birth path, but, I think there is a lot of stigma in even the free birth world, really, that, accessing any care is like against the rules, and it's not real because you still accessed care. But I think like that's
it's kind of going back to what you were saying about something being trendy. Like, are we doing it because it's trendy and we want to slap a label on it, or are we just choosing the birth that suits us? And if you want to call it free birth, or you want to call it unassisted, like, I don't care. It honestly, it doesn't matter. I chose a birth path that made sense to me. I had the scans. I didn't really want to have the scans, but there was a couple of little things that came up, which luckily throughout the pregnancy resolved by the end. So I chose I tailored the pregnancy and the birth to what felt right for me, and it probably doesn't have a label.
Yeah, but I mean,
And I don't think
tailoring,
it matters.
it's like everyone should be able to have that experience. Like it should, like tailoring is like literally individualizing and making it fit you, not you fitting the system, and that's amazing. So Raphael, he was born much quicker than Luna. What was like the lead up to going into labour with Raphael?
So it was a school holidays, and my partner's girls were having a bit of an extended stay with us because it's the school holidays.
Sure, yeah.
And they were due to go home, I think the day before, the day after my due date. And I remember, trying to sit in meditation. I did heaps of spinning babies.
Yeah.
Like, can't recommend that enough throughout my whole pregnancy, because I feel like with Luna, there was a bit of a positionary thing that was going on.
Yeah.
As to why my pregnancy, whilst my labour might have been as long as it was. So I was doing lots of that. I was in meditation, doing spinning babies. They were out, and I was just remember saying, I was like, Raph, I'm like, you need to stay in there until after 10 o'clock on the 3rd of October, because
yeah,
it is going to be too hectic in here. There will be 4 kids and all this stuff going on, and I just need there to be less happening we live in a very, very small space.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the night before the girls were due to go back to their mum, my waters opened really,
Wow.
really gently. And I was just like, oh, right, okay. So so there's communication happening between my son and I,
Yeah.
and that felt really, I was like, oh, he's been listening. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you got to stay in there until like for a few more hours. Come out and said to my partner, I'm like, waters open. He's like, okay, so probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I went back to bed, and it was a really interesting sensation because I was having the very light, period cramping throughout the night, every half an hour, every hour. Nothing major, all in through to the next morning. We got up, we had breakfast, put the washing on, like we're doing all these things, and it was like nothing had changed. And Adam went and took the girls back to their mum, and he's like, when I come home, I'm going to blow up the pool and, put the tarp down. And, he had his plan of the things that he wanted to set up to organise the space for what we thought would play out over the next couple of days. And it was a really, really warm day. And I rang him and I said, are you going to come home soon? He said, yeah. And I go, I really want to go to the beach. And he's like, are you sure? We live 2 kilometres from the beach. He's like, are you sure you want to do that? And I said, well, I'm going to do my 40 days. It's getting warmer. I'm going to miss out on going to the beach because I'm gung-ho about doing my 40 days as well. And I want to spend some time with Luna, before there's another baby in the space. He's like, oh, I don't know if you should do it, but it's only up the road.
Yeah.
So my cousin came over and she's like, are you sure you want to do this? And I go, yes, I absolutely want to do this. And I remember we got to the beach and I got out of the car and I thought, oh, gosh, it's really hot here. There's a lot of people here, but I'm doing it because we're here. So we got to lunch and we had a little swim, and another girlfriend came down to see us and got in the water, and she looked at me and she's like, you don't look too crash hot, mate. And I'm like, I think I'm going to go. She's like, I think you should probably go. And I was like, all right, we've done an hour here. Let's go. Come on, Luna. We'll go get into the car. Having to stop on the way, when you're very big and pregnant and you're in a bathing suit, people tend to stop and look at you and smile. And I was like, oh, eyes rolling back in my head, trying to walk back to the car.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 surges in 10 minutes out of nowhere.
Wow.
Because my auntie was timing them for me, because she was with us as well. And I got into the car and my cousin said, I don't think you should drive the car home. And I said, I don't think I should either. And then she looked at me and she's like, if you're saying you don't want to drive, I'm panicking. Get in the car.
Yeah.
So got in the car, got into the driveway, 2 kilometres up the road, not even, and I was beside myself.
Whoa.
Like I could not get out of the car. Like I had not felt pain. Like I don't remember any contraction, surge, whatever word you like to use, for my labour with Luna feeling this way. And I was like, oh my gosh, this has only just started. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And we went inside and we just weren't prepared. Like, I was going to get my crystals out and set up an altar and put a playlist, my affirmation. Like I was going to do this all day. you know, fluffing around the house and doing all these gorgeous things that, you know, I wanted to do to prepare for this amazing free birth that I thought I was going to have.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no time for that because
Wow.
within an hour, I was on a birth ball. I just can't explain how out of control I felt.
Wow.
In that moment, I was thinking to myself, I am going to die.
Yeah.
I cannot do this for, I was like, oh my God, Luna's labour was 36 hours. Oh my God, I can't do this for 36 hours. I'm going to die. You know, all these things. And then Adam said, you know, do you want us to call Jara, my doula? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I'll just call her because no one else knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And she got here maybe half an hour later and she walked in and I go, I'm fucked. I'm like, what's going on? This is fucked. And she's like, yeah, she goes, because it's coming. And I'm like, now? And she's like, I think so. I was like, all right. So I'm like, well, I better get in the birth pool then. I'm like, because I'm going to die.
And so you're having this thought that this is like out of control. This is so much. This might be too much. Did you have any thoughts that like I should be going to the hospital or something's not right? Yeah. Okay.
I really did because it just felt so different and because my mind was future pacing of how long what I thought labour should be.
36 hours, yeah.
That's right. Or more or whatever. And I thought, look, if I'm lucky, I'm going to smash this out in 12 hours. That's what I was saying to everyone. I'm like, anything under 12 hours would be sweet. Yeah. I don't want to do 36 hours again. And then that's why I started thinking like, I'm going to have to go to a hospital. And it was just that perfect time. My doula walked in the door. She was cool as a cucumber. And she's like, you're not going to have to go to hospital. She's like, because you haven't gone in the pool yet.
Yeah.
She's like, maybe go, do you think maybe you might want to do that? And I'm like, well, I got to do something to relax. Like every breath technique. I mean, I'm a yoga therapist as well.
Wow,
so I know a lot about pranayama. I've done all the breath work. I've been to all the classes, all the things. And I was like, there is nothing that can save me here. I was screaming like an animal.
What? Oh, my gosh.
And it's so interesting because I asked, like in that last meditation that I did before I, started going to labour, I'm like, what do I want from this birthing experience? And I'm like, I want to feel life move through me.
Yeah.
And life moved through me, it did.
Yeah.
And I got into the pool and I was literally just in there just to have some kind of a respite or something because I was like, this is just, so full on. And I was had my partner in next to me, I had my hands on him and I was like, oh gosh, he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I've just got into this pool, I can hardly move and I feel like I'm going to do the biggest poo. Yeah. And my cousin goes, don't worry about it. She goes, if you do it in there, we'll get it out. She goes, just stay there. You're happy. Stay in there.
Wow.
And it's all fine. And I was like, oh, whatever. We'll just let it go. And then I put my hand down and his head was crowning. I could feel his hair.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, no. I'm like, we've only been at this for like an hour and 45 minutes. I'm like, no. And I, looked up at my doula and she said, yeah, she's like, he's coming. And I was like, okay, all right. And then I just remembered when Luna crowned, it was kind of like the end game. That's what I told myself. So once you get to that point, we're done and dusted. Yeah. Essentially, the really, really, hard yards was over in my experience. I have to say, I can't speak for anyone else. And I was like, all right, well, we're just going to chill out here. And I was really interested in finding out whether the fetal ejection reflex would be possible for me. Yeah. So I was like, right, we're crowning, we're doing the thing, we're just not going to push and we're just going to chill out here and we're just going to see what happens. And I remember my cousin coming around to me and she's like, you look really calm now. I go, oh, we're pretty much done now. And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, oh, we're going to test this theory, this thing that I've been
You're
listening
so
to
funny.
on all these podcasts that, like, you don't have to push the baby out and you don't have to get all these tears and, like, all this jazzo. Like, you've already had one before, so it will be easy. I'm like, well, let's just see if it comes out.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I had another big surge, which I felt was like, you know, right in the back, which if you've had a physiological birth before, you would know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here we go. And, you know, a big sort of groan, bang, head out.
Wow.
And I've got some really beautiful photos. I'd love to send them to you, actually.
Yes, please.
You can just see someone taking the photo from the back of me because I was leaning, you know, over the pool. Just his little head, just out, just chilling out in the water. And it was a little while. It was maybe 3 to 5 minutes, I think.
Wow.
And then another big surge, bang, he was out.
Wow. And so it's like once like he'd crowned, it seems like a sort of calmness, like,
yes,
sort of washed over you, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be doing this for 36 hours. And it sounds like you actually then were able to really, like, enjoy it.
Then I was able to relax. I was like, oh, we're pretty much done here. I was like, what do you mean we're done here? I'm like, oh, well, yeah. Heads out, like the rest will come out.
Whoa.
You know, that's what I was telling myself at the time anyway.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was wild. And it was also really strange because it was such a sunny day and my blinds don't close all the way down. It's in my kitchen, actually.
Yeah.
Where the birth pool was set up. And I kind of did this weird maneuver where my cousin actually caught Raph as he was coming up, like, oh my God, don't pull the cord.
Yeah.
Don't pull the cord, because I was like, ah, and sort of had to flick my leg over and, you know, sort of roll around and then grab him and, like, put him onto my chest. And I was like, I think I said something like, oh my God, I did it. This is so grouse.
Yeah, this is so grouse.
Like something really daggy like that. And I just looked at him and he was like so little and and he, you know, he cried straight away and just the whole room, like, it was just magic. It was just a really, really magical moment. And I was like, I fucking did it, dudes.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
It happened to me. It's actually what it felt like. I didn't actually do anything.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's incredible. I can't believe how quick it was compared to your experience with Luna. But then, like, just the calmness. I'm, like, reflecting on my own experiences and, like, I just, like, even with I don't remember until my babies were actually born, I don't remember feeling any sense of calm. I just remember it especially with Frankie, my youngest, who's almost 2. I just remember it being like, holy crap, this is, like, so painful. When is this going to be over? And then once he was actually fully born, it was just that all washed away. It was like, you know, somebody had snapped their fingers and it was just, you know, all of those endorphins and the oxytocin, it just washed over me and it was all done. But I think that's, so fascinating that you had such an awareness in those, you know, last minutes that I'm just going to see if this fetal ejection reflex actually works. I've heard about it. Let's put it to the test. Like, that's brilliant. That's so good. And so what was the birth of Raphael's placenta like? Did you stay in the pool? How long did that take?
I did stay in the pool and I can't remember how long it took. I know I had all my tinctures. I had some blissful herb tinctures, no bleed, something or other, I think it was called. Yeah. Because I wanted, you know, all the precautions for the, you know, try to not do the postpartum hemorrhage thing again.
Of course.
And I reckon it was within about half an hour.
Yeah.
But it was painful. Like, it was very painful and it hurt more than him coming out because it was bigger than him. It was huge.
Wow.
I actually believe it weighed a little bit more than what he did.
What? Oh my gosh. Big
Yeah.
chunky placenta. Nice.
Yeah.
Holy moly. And so
I think I was just maybe squatting in the pool and I was holding him and yeah, it didn't take as long as what I thought because, I'd prepped to, maybe get out of the pool and do the sitting on the toilet over the bowl thing and go in the shower and all this and that, but I didn't really get a chance. So
yeah.
that was nice because it was kind of nice being in the pool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, wow. And I guess I'm also curious. So you said you had your auntie there, and
Yes.
was there another family member there?
My cousin was here too.
And your cousin. And so there, from how you've told the story, it seems that they were like pretty trusting of you trusting yourself. Did
Absolutely.
they have like any fears or concerns that they at least spoke to you regarding free birth?
No, I feel like, because my auntie, had been with me throughout almost all of Luna's labour. She was with me up until I went to the hospital.
Yeah.
And for my cousin who has not had any children yet, her reflections on it is that it has helped to dissolve a lot of fears that she had about birth, being present at this birth, which is what I had hoped.
Wow. Oh my gosh, so many ripples. Goodness, that is so special, so beautiful. Also, I think you're really funny the way that you told the story about, thinking it was going to be 36 hours and then I'm fucked. How am I going to be able to do this for 36 hours?
I'm pretty sure that's what I said. I'm like, no, I'm like, this can't happen. And I wonder, there's something in people like, oh, that's so great. She had such a short labour. But I actually did go into shock afterwards.
Yeah.
And I actually felt very disconnected from myself, from my body, and even from my son for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Took me a very, very long time to properly land after that birth. Maybe because although it was excellent outcomes, but it wasn't quite what I expected. So, there's definitely something to be said in that. I didn't have the opportunity to hit altered state of consciousness. I did with Luna. Like, I went to Mars and back a number of times in labour with her. Like, that was super cool.
Yeah.
But this was just so fast and so kind of jarring. Absolutely not what I expected. And the coming back to myself and grounding in my body and being able to be present and in connection with him, I felt was a little bit more challenging. Even though we had the utopian home birth and all the things, isn't it interesting how stuff like that can happen?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's well, I don't know what you would call it, but it's labor. Like, obviously 36 hours is full on and it really sounds so exhausting. But you also don't want it to be too quick necessarily because that is quite common. I hear mums that have had fast labors, they're like, well, okay, it was fast, but it took me hours, days, weeks to actually, like you said, land from that whole experience because it just happened so quick.
Didn't get to get my crystals out, my affirmations, my podcast, nothing. No, there was no altar, no nothing, no fairy lights.
What? I didn't know home birth could happen without the crystals.
Or the fairy lights.
All the fairy lights. Oh my gosh.
I guess that I'm being funny, but like I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because I love a gimmick and I love a product and all these things, but I guess I learnt that for a lot of us, birth just happens. without
100%. Yeah.
the gimmicks, without but like, I still want all the things. Yeah, I still want them
Yeah.
all. I still believe in them all.
Yeah. I want the bloody fairy lights under the liner.
I did want my
Yeah.
fairy lights. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
and that's that trust. You know,
yeah,
that's the piece that I'm coming back to. And you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, we want to like, the gimmicks are great, and I still believe in them. And if I had another baby, I'd still have them all, and I'd
yeah,
definitely make sure those fairy lights were on.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I'd
yeah,
make sure all that shit was set up 2 or 3 days before now,
yeah, yeah,
knowing what I
yeah.
know now.
Yeah,
But
you live and you learn.
yes, but it's just that trust in, like, you know, it will happen, and your body can do it, and you got to work through all your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you can do it. And I think something that was so beautiful is my beautiful dog had puppies about 3 or 4 months before I had Raphael.
yeah.
And it was the first time she had puppies, and she birthed these 4 little puppies, like bang, 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 like so quickly. And I watched her body, and you know how she was moving and how she was breathing,
Mm,
and her body just did it. Like there was no fighting, there was no trying to think her way out of how she needed to support herself. She just did it. And I think, I know it sounds really silly, but that I was like, well, yeah, my dog did it. So she had 4.
yeah,
She's like 6 kilos, and she has
yeah,
no awareness of postpartum hemorrhage and placenta birth. Like, she's just, her body just did it. And
yeah,
we're mammals, and I'm going to do it too.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, humanity would not have, like Homo sapiens, us, you and I, we would not be here if birth didn't work. Birth, most of the time, if it was left alone, it would work.
Mm,
But, like, I guess that's a whole other podcast.
for
I
sure.
think, like what you've said, I don't think I can summarize that any better than you have. I think, yeah, what you've said is so, so important. I wanted to ask, like, so you had some postnatal appointments with the midwife. So in those early weeks, you know, when you're like landing from your quick birth and whatnot, like what was like your like support like during that time, breastfeeding, like recovery, how was that for you?
Little tricky with having a toddler.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know, not the not quite the same as when I had Luna, but you know, I'd set up. I had a postpartum doula as well,
Yeah.
come and help out, because you know there's a lot more moving parts. You know, when there's other children involved,
Mm.
to when you have your first. But then I guess you kind of know a bit more, and I was really lucky to have lots of family around. Yes, I had my midwife come and do some appointments to check out how we were going. I thought I was a champion breastfeeder because I was still breastfeeding my daughter like all the way through my pregnancy, but my son has cheek ties.
Yeah. Wow.
So he was quite a challenging breastfeed up until he was about 4 months.
Wow.
And that's all sorted itself out now.
Yeah.
But we did need to get a little bit of support around that. But yeah, apart from that, it's all a bit of a blur now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Always.
a
It sounds
very,
like you must
very
be.
busy time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But
Like
for
so
me,
busy.
the 40 days practice was like, that was my non-negotiable. Like, that's something I absolutely did with Luna, and something I knew I absolutely needed
Yeah.
to help me to ground and feel like I could move out in the world a bit more
Mm.
confidently as a mum of 2 under 2.
Yeah. And so was there in your 40 days, like what particular things did you practice or did you follow?
I've rested as much as possible. Not as easy with a toddler.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to get up and do things. But I had a lot of people come and, you know, take her to activities and come and spend some time with her. Just really beautiful, nourishing foods. My doula brought me some meals. I had family bringing meals. Meal train is just also a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Had some beautiful friends, you know, popping over to offer support and to help out with washing, or to bring some meals and things like that. And that, yeah, it was just really, really lovely. to feel supported in that way.
Yeah.
By the people that you love and your community.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I wish, everybody could have that experience, or everybody. I think there's probably a lot of people out there that would be able to, access, I suppose, whether it's family or friends or like monetary kind of resourcing. But I think a lot of people also just don't know how to ask and feel that that's a burden to place on someone. But I would really encourage, if anybody's listening and that is pregnant, to just ask. I think Meal Train is like a fantastic resource. It feels like so, well, I guess for me personally, it's felt like even participating in them, it feels like so not confrontational. Like you literally just sign up for what you can do and you just cook whatever you can do. It's so simple, but it's so impactful. It doesn't have to, be going out to find some fancy gift or whatever, like a good lasagna or soup, especially in winter, is like perfect. Yeah, literally anything, just some calories, really.
I had a girlfriend that came over and she brought me a beautiful cottage pie, like to share with the family, but also a really nice bircher muesli. And I was like, I didn't even think about breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's just been the best thing.
Yeah, delicious.
Because you just can't think of everything, but we need to be nourished at this time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And forever. Meal Train should go on forever.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yes, it would make life so much easier if we, like meal planning and cooking food is like, I reckon, the worst part of adulthood.
It's so hard.
And especially when you bring kids into the picture, like I reckon we should just have like community cook-ups where we all just, cook like that. I feel like that would take off so much pressure.
And then if you had like a group of 10 people, then you only need to cook like, once or twice in a week or a fortnight.
Yeah. How good.
That's a vibe. I'm signing up for that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. If we lived closer, we could definitely do that. Well, it's been so fun to talk to you, Rhiannon, and I'm so grateful for you sharing your story, transferring with Luna, and then like such an incredible birth story of the birth of Raphael. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to talk about, or that we've missed, or anything like that?
I don't think so. But thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my story. And one of the reasons I wanted to do it is because I listened to so many stories, and that was so encouraging for me throughout my pregnancy, both of my pregnancies, when I wanted to go rogue. The whole birthing situation. And we do hear so many negative stories, but not enough positive ones. And I feel like this is quite a positive story, and I wanted to put that out into the world as a bit of a pay it back. And I just wanted to say to any woman who's been told that they're unable to home birth, or they have failed at home birth, just sending you so much love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much love.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rhiannon.
My pleasure. Thank you.